So, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Thanks for coming. Today, I wanted to talk about the power of give and receive action. This is something fundamental to our lives, fundamental to everything that we do. First of all, what is give and receive action? Give and receive action is the relationship that you have with a thought, with an idea, with a person, with a thing, and that relationship produces energy. So the question is, what ideas, what thoughts, what people, what books, what movies, and other outside influences are we having give and receive action with? And consequent to that, what direction are we moving in? So this is our constant situation. Here we are, stuck in the middle of this war, Satan and God, and the relationship that we're having with the positive influences versus the relationship that we're having with the negative influences are going to have a direct result on what actions we take in our life, what direction we go in our life. So, do you feel like this sometimes?
Yeah.
Part of just a pawn on this scale of mass warfare going on inside your mind, inside the world. So, even though we're unlimited beings, we're granted so much potential by God, but we are stuck, just like this. So in order to move forward, what do we need to do? We need to be able to cut our relationship with Satan. We need to be able to increase our relationship with God. We need to heal, in other words. We need to heal our hearts. We are weighed down by this baggage. So here's the one Bible quote today. He who cools his anger is a healer of his own heart. Proverbs 14:30. And that's it. There's no more Bible quotes today. Sorry. I'm sorry. I should have put more. But so do you get this feeling that this is our life and we're just weighed down, we're out of balance, we're out of sync, there's too much going on, we just don't know where we're going. And we can't even get there even if we did. So how do we heal? We talk about two types of indemnity conditions. Indemnity conditions being things that we do in order to move ourselves away from Satan and towards God. External indemnity conditions would be things that we do like prayer, fasting, teaching, witnessing. External things that have an internal effect, but they're external things that we do. There's also internal indemnity conditions, and the best definition I could find was changing and recreating of ourselves into a person that can be united with God. So, the struggle between good and evil played out inside each and every one of us. Here's a typical background scenario of where an average person is coming from. We're feeling deprived of our parents' love. We're feeling we're not feeling accepted by classmates, friends, etc. We're growing up or joining with this movement and getting married and still feeling deprived because of our others' shortcomings. The result is that our feelings are backed up, our spirits are clogged, we're unable to move, we're unable to really feel hope. Remember when you were younger and you had dreams, you had passion, you had a desire to do something? How many of us feel that way now? How many of us have seen our dreams get crushed? And this is happening on a day-to-day basis. This is happening on a year-to-year basis. And suddenly we end up where we are, and we're not exactly too thrilled about where we're at inside our daily life. So how do we let go? No place for God. We're so full of this other stuff. And we're just feeling pretty bummed out, basically. So how do we uproot our grief? How do we drop this weight that we carry? In other words, how do we cut our ties with Satan in order to increase and develop this relationship that we have been blessed with to have with God, our Creator. I love that photo. Yeah. So, identify the feeling. If we can't identify what it is that's holding us back, we can't deal with it. We can't have any hope to solve it. And I put in this cartoon because sharing with a responsible other person, whether it be a parent, whether it be a spouse, whether it be a friend, whether it be a therapist, is important. I don't know if you can read it from there, but wife is showing up saying, I'm feeling depressed lately. Husband says, oh, don't be silly, you have everything in the world going for you. 1 week later, how come you don't admit or you don't tell me anything? In other words, here's a person that was trying to share themselves and they were shut down, and then the other person's wondering why this person's shut down. So in other words, identify the feeling, share with a responsible other person. Know your limitation, evaluate yourself, have an idea of where you're at, taking action, doing something, free yourself up so God can work. Receive forgiveness. That's just as important as repentance in many ways, because repentance in front of God is just one side of the coin. Yes, we did. Yes, we messed up. Yes, we did some very bad things or whatever. But if you can't feel forgiven and you're just left in this kind of feeling of like, I did something wrong, then basically you are not able to fill yourself up with God's forgiveness. So you need to experience this feeling of separating, this feeling of forgiveness, and express gratitude to God. So grow that base, grow that part of yourself that's feeling grateful, and develop and work on that, and fill up yourself again. And imagine the ideal you. Set goals for yourself. Look at yourself in the mirror and see this. It's going to be a struggle, but because we've entrenched lots of habits over the years, ways of which we look at ourselves that are not exactly the way that God sees us, and we're kind of going in two different ways. Remember in the one of the commandments, it says, "Thou shalt not have any other god before me." When I read that, I feel like God is almost like having this spousal relationship with us, where He doesn't want us to be going off with any other god. He wants us because He loves us, and He wants to have that relationship with each and every one of us. And so in that sense, God is a very jealous God. But this is going to take work, separating ourselves from Satan, being able to put behind bad habits that take us in the opposite direction from where we really want to go. So we're in this daily struggle, but the one weapon that we have is free will. You see, God didn't create robots. If God just wanted to create subservient beings that were completely 100% obedient, God would have created a computer, probably. Even computers, they can be a little errant sometimes. But God created human beings. Why? Why did God endow us with free will? Well, I would believe it was because He wanted to experience the reality of true love. You can't create true love with a computer. That's something that's programmed to just serve you and love you and do whatever you want it to. That's not, you cannot create a situation of true love. So God has endowed us with free will, and we have choices. So we can choose who we hang out with. Jim Rohn said, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Who do you spend the most time with? Right. As we get older, it's our kids, right? So, we can choose what we watch. What do you feed your mind with when you switch on the TV, or what kind of movies do you choose? What and who we listen to. I think it was some financial guru who said, you know, if you wanna be rich and successful, don't get advice from broke people. What are you reading? Okay, what are you reading? What are you thinking about? In other words, what are you exposing yourselves to? What kind of give and take action are you having on a day-to-day basis, on a minute-to-minute basis, on an hour-to-hour basis? Essentially what I'm saying is we need to rebuild our relationship with God. We need to rebuild that base that we may or may not have lost touch with, the original part of ourselves, the seed of goodness. We need to expand its dominion over our lives. So we need to be very conscious, and we need to be very selective about the choices that we make. So remember that give and receive action generates power. So what kind of power do you want to generate in your life? So read God's words daily. Associate with positive, uplifting people, not toxic people. People that you can always tell when you've met a toxic person, because you walk away from that conversation feeling that you're drained and you feel depressed. And it may not be that person's fault. It's the combination of the two elements. It just produces a toxic effect. And so you really need to be conscious of the people in your life that are like spiritual vampires that suck your energy and make you feel like your dreams are crushed and there's no hope of rising up above your situation. You need to watch and you need to read uplifting material. You need to surround yourself with empowering and uplifting people and things. And that's always very difficult. I was at a conference in Texas a couple of weeks ago, and there's this financial guru down there, and he was basically saying, if you want to be successful, you have to be willing to give up 99% of your broke friends. You need to be willing to leave them behind. Are you willing to do that? He's asking, he's provoking, he's kind of just poking us and saying, this is the reality. You're going to be the average of the 5 people you spend most time with. You're going to be the influence of that. If you want to, create a good environment for you to grow in, you need to associate with people that are better than you. You need to associate with people that can uplift you, not people that are going to drag you down. So, and here's my other quote. This is from Harry Potter. It is our choices that show what we truly are far more than our abilities. So, essentially, what I want to re-emphasize in this talk today is we need to rebuild our give and receive relationship with God. 3 times. Rebuild our give and receive relationship with God, and think about how we're doing that on a daily basis so that we can move forward. Thank you very much.